What's up, you guys? Racism is alive and well. In the Catholic Church, as per usual, I know what you're thinking. You're like, Miles, I think the Catholic Church is making great leaps and bounds. We've got Pope Francis saying that abortion rocks and Muslims are dope, and we need to open the borders and have more globalism, more mass migration, and the West should die. That is a good sign. But that's Pope Francis. We have a new guy on the horizon named Robert Serra. He thinks there's only two genders. Meanwhile, he has two genders in his own name. He's a male and a female. So he's two genders in a sense, a mix. He's bi. He's bi-gender. And this guy is from Guinea. He's like the guinea pig of Catholicism. They keep saying he's papable, which means he could be the next pope. I'll tell you what's palpable. This guy is not palatable. He's a racist. A really racist, which is obviously the worst kind of racist there is. And he's dangerous too. If he becomes pope, it's basically going to be like America, which is the KKK. And I prefer no war, no KKK, no fascist USA. And also no borders, no walls, no USA at all. Thanks, MDC, the punk band who came up with that awesome anthem. All right, here's 5 of his most racist quotes that shows you that racism is alive and well. Racism is alive and well. Racism is alive and well. Number 1, everyone was created by God to be placed in a specific place with its culture, traditions, and history. Oh, really? So we're supposed to be in different countries? Yeah, that makes sense. Cardinal Robert Serra. Yeah, the Bible said that everyone got together and had one language, and there was globalism, and they built a big tower, and then the tower got too close to God, and God shattered it and gave everyone different countries and different languages and different races and different cultures. Yeah, that really happened. Racist. We're meant to be one big beige mochaccino people, and white people hate that because they don't want to not be the kings. Number 2, this current desire to globalize the world is pure madness. That's anti-Semitic, because he knows that Soros, who was a Holocaust survivor, who made it through World War II by helping the Nazis kill Jews, he survived that, so he's a Holocaust survivor, and he's a globalist, so if you hate him, you hate Jews. And that's what he's saying in number 2. So he's not just racist, he's anti-Semitic. He's a bigot. The gender thing, the anti-Semitism, it's all the same. He's a Nazi like Trump. Number 3, the Catholic Church is wrapped and blinded by the mystery of iniquity. And by iniquity, he obviously means poverty and pain and suffering, which is linked to inequality. What he's basically saying there is some people are poor because they suck, and that's fucked up. He's saying that there's a problem with this communist idea, this socialist idea of making everyone the same with equal outcomes. Yeah, what's the matter with that? Hey, Robert Serra, what if one boy is in the kindergarten and he has 10 blocks, and then this boy has 1 block? Shouldn't this boy give that boy 5 of his blocks so they both have 5 blocks? No, not to you. You want the boy with the most blocks to put on a hood and then nail this guy to a cross and burn him on a black person's lawn. That's not quitty. That's iniquity. I quit EU. A lot of puns in this particular episode. Number 4, mass migration is a new form of slavery. We've heard this trope a million times where they point out that, oh, open borders in Mexico mean that only rich people in America and rich white people in both countries do well, and it ends up hurting the poor blacks in California and poor Mexicans in both countries, and the Mexican families that are left behind without a patriarch, they suffer too, even though they get money wired to them, and it ends up draining those particular small towns in Mexico of their culture and their fatherhood and their families, and it ends up tearing them both apart. And then you have the nannies coming over in America and from the Philippines, and missing their families, and now you're essentially importing love from the third world, and all these kids don't have mothers back in Southeast Asia and all over the world, in Jamaica and Caribbean and in Mexico. And what we're doing is really just tearing apart third world families to have servants do our landscaping and be our nannies and be our maids, and the original country suffer, and the rich white people get these servants, and the poor people have to go do all their labor. That's bullshit. Number 5, and this is where it gets really gross. You might barf. If the West continues in this fatal way, there is a great risk, blah, 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 due to a lack of birth, it will disappear, invaded by foreigners, just as Rome has been invaded by barbarians. Did you hear that? He thinks the West is the best. By the way, the SPLC, Southern Poverty Law Center, is great at pointing out that whenever anyone says West, they mean white. Like when Pat Buchanan wrote Death of the West, you should read that as white people. That was his fear. So this guy's just worried about white people like himself. And this idea that mass migration will lead to the death of the West is really just saying white power, white power. By the way, speaking of proof, Prison Planet, Paul Joseph Watson likes this guy. Paul Joseph Watson is a Nazi. If Nazis like you, you're likely a white nationalist. And I think we all know what this guy wants. He wants his perfect KKK utopia. He comes up with these lame defenses like, oh, my country's predominantly Muslim. I think I know what I'm talking about. I think I know what you're talking about. You're a white nationalist that want all blacks to go back to Africa where they belong. Well, wrong. They don't belong there. They belong with me and my friends hugging. Anyway, this guy better not be Pope, because if he does become Pope, the world will be as Nazi-ish as America is with Hitler Trump. It's just basic facts. I am Miles McInnes. I make videos about social justice. To see them all, go to nohate.com.